Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Talk FM. Today, we are going to discuss the film Dead Poets Society and relate it to educational psychology theories and instructional approaches found in the movie.
Yes, the movie shows many educational issues such as strict school rules, pressure from parents, and different teaching approaches. Today, we have three caterers to joining us to share their analysis and opinions.
Welcome to the show, Amir, Anik, and Atif.
Thank you for inviting us.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. It's great to join this discussion.
To begin, can one of you briefly explain what Dead Poets Society is about?
So, the movie is about students studying at Walton Academy, which is a very strict boarding school. Everything changes when a new English teacher, Mr. Keating, arrives. He encourages students to think freely, express themselves, and follow their passions instead of only following rules.
That's interesting because the school system in the movie is very traditional and strict. What educational problems can we clearly see in the film?
One major problem is parental pressure. Many parents expect their children to become successful professionals like doctors or lawyers. The best example is Neil Perry. He loved acting, but his father forces him to focus only on academics.
How does that affect Niall emotionally?
Well, Neil becomes stressed and emotionally trapped. He cannot freely express what he truly wants. This pressure affects his mental health and happiness because he feels that nobody listens to his dreams.
So, as we can see here, besides parents, the school itself also seems very strict on them.
Yes, Western Academy focuses heavily on disciplines, memorizations, and obedience. Students are expected to follow instructions without questioning them. Because of that, many students are afraid to speak or think independently.
Alright, let's begin with student centered and constructivist approaches to instruction. Amir, how could these approaches help the students in Dead Poets Society?
I think these approaches could really help the students. In the movie, many students study because they are afraid of or failing or disappointing their parents. Student-centered learning allows students to participate actively through discussions, projects, and sharing opinions. So this makes learning more meaningful and also enjoyable.
So, Amir, what about you personally? As a TESOL student, do you think this approach is effective in your classrooms?
Yes, definitely. I think students become more confident when teachers allow them to express ideas freely. So, in language learning, especially, students need opportunities to communicate and explore ideas instead of only memorizing notes.
Okay, that's a good point. How would this approach help someone like Now Perry?
Now would probably feel more supported in exploring his passion for acting. So, if the school encouraged personal growth and creativity, his emotional stress might be reduced.
So, what you mean is learning becomes more meaningful when students are actively involved.
Exactly. So, students become motivated because they learn for personal growth, not only because of their fear and also pressure.
Alright, now let's move on to information processing and cognitive theories of learning. Anik, how do these theories connect to the movie?
Alright. First, cognitive theories focus on how students process and understand the information. At Welton Academy, students are forced to memorize facts for exams, which creates pressure and anxiety. Students may remember information temporarily, but they do not truly understand it.
What about you, Anik? Which teaching method helps you learn better personally?
Well, for me, I learn better through discussions and examples that relate to real life. When teachers explaining lessons using situations we can connect to, it becomes easier to remember and understand it.
I see. So, can you relate that to Mr. Keating's teaching style?
Hypothetically, yes, Mr. Keating actually encourages students to think differently and reflect deeply. For example, when he asks students to stand on their desks, he teaches them to look at things from different perspectives, and that creates a meaningful learning instead of simple memorization.
So, what you are telling here is students actively processing ideas instead of only just receiving information from their teachers.
Yes, exactly. Students become more engaged and develop critical thinking skills when they feel comfortable and respected in the same classroom.
Let's talk about behavioral theories of learning. How are these theories shown in the movie?
The school used strict rules and punishment to control students. While discipline is important, too much punishment creates fear and prevents students from expressing themselves freely.
So, what about your own opinion, Atif? Do you think punishment is still necessary in classrooms today, or is there other ways for it?
As for me, I think some discipline is necessary, but teachers should balance it with positive reinforcement. Students respond better when the teachers encourage and appreciate their efforts instead of always focusing on mistakes.
Okay, so positive reinforcement can motivate students better?
Absolutely. When students receive praise for creativity, participation, or effort, they feel more confident and motivated to learn.
How could that change the environment at Welton Academy?
The classroom atmosphere would become more supportive and positive. Students would participate because they enjoy learning instead of fearing punishment.
Okay, thank you very much. So, finally, let's discuss the effective lesson. In your opinion, what makes a lesson effective?
I think an effective lesson should be balanced between structure and creativity. Teachers need clear lesson objectives, but students should also enjoy the activities.
What about you, Anik? What kind of classroom activities would help students stay engaged in their lessons?
For me, I think that interactive activities like group discussions, presentations, and teamwork are very effective because students can participate actively instead of only listening to the lessons.
Okay, so Atif, do you have any final thoughts about effective lessons?
Yes, and effective lessons should also end with reflection or a short review. This helps students remember what they learned and understand the lesson clearly and better.
So, what should teachers do at the beginning of a lesson?
The teachers should start with an interesting activity or question to grab students' attention. This is important because it helps students focus and become more interested in the lesson.
That sounds like a really great balance between learning and keep staying student engaged.
Exactly. Students feel more comfortable and motivated when lessons are organized but still enjoyable.
Thank you so much. So, before we end, what overall lesson can educators learn from Dead Code Society?
For me, I think that teachers should understand students' emotional and psychological needs, not only focus on academic achievement.
For me, schools should create supportive environments where students feel safe to express themselves and also explore their interests.
Also, teachers should encourage creativity, critical thinking, and confidence instead of only discipline and memorization.
So, educational psychology really helps teachers understand students better and improve their learning process.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for your wonderful insights today. That means a lot.
Yeah, this discussion clearly shows how educational psychology theories can help us create a more healthier and a more effective learning environment for our students.
Okay, that is all for today's episode of Movie Talk FM. Thank you for listening and goodbye.